School-based management. School-based management or SBM is a strategy to decentralize decision-making authority to the individual school site, of which devolution of authority is the fundamental concept. A recent trend in education reform that stresses decision-making on the school level. In the past, school policies were set by the state and the districts. Now, the trend is for individual schools to make their own decision and policies. Sa layong makamit ng Pilipinas ang Quality Education for All, EFA or EFA, kinakailangan na ang mga school principals ay maging proactive sa pamumuno sa kani-kanilang mga paaralan. Nakaatang sa balikat ng mga punong guro ang isang dakilang responsibilidad na siguraduhin ang maayos na pamamalakad sa mga paaralan at siguruhin na nabibigyan ng pinakamabuting edukasyon ang milyon-milyong mag-aaral dito sa ating bansa. Why decentralization? Decentralization in the context of SBM is the transfer of responsibility for planning school improvement, raising, allocating, and managing resources from the central, regional, and division level down to the school sites. According to the National Association of Secondary School Principals or NASSP, to provide opportunity to school leaders to boost the morale of teachers and encourages leadership at all levels, allows participation of the entire school community in making key decisions, has a wider school pool of ideas designing education programs, focuses resources to the goals and needs of each school. Dahil nga pinalalakas ng DepEd or layunin ng DepEd na makamit ng Pilipinas ang Education for All, pinalalakas ng DepEd ang desentralisasyon ng pagpaplano, pamamahala at pagpapaunlad sa mga paaralan batay sa prinsipyo ng School-Based Management or SBM. Sa pamamagitan ng tamang decentralization policies, mapapalakas ng DepEd ang kapasidad ng kanilang mga tauhan na gampanan ang kanilang mga tungkulin sa ilalim ng decentralized system. Ang SBM ay isang importanteng bahagi ng programa ng DepEd na Basic Education Sector Reform Agenda o BESRA. Sa ilalim ng naturang programa, malaya ang mga school heads na subukan ang mga pamamaraang makatutulong na mapaunlad ang kanilang paaralan at makapagtatag ng linkages sa lokal na pamahalaan at private sector. What are the SBM objectives? The first one is empower school heads to lead their teachers and students through reforms that led to higher learning outcomes. The next one is bring resources including funds down to the control of schools to spur change in line with decentralization. The third one is strengthen partnership with communities as well as local government unit to invest time, money, and effort in making the school a better place to learn. The fourth one is integrate school management, instructional, reformative for the school, and effective. The main goal of SBM is to improve school performance and student achievement. Why is school-based management important? With more responsibilities dissolved to schools through SBM, schools have greater autonomy and flexibility in managing their operations and resources towards school development. Additional autonomy makes school more transparent in their operations and accountable to the community for their performance, and proper use of funds as quality of school education directly impacts students' learning outcomes. Second, it allows local decision makers to determine the appropriate mix of inputs and education policies adapted to local realities and needs. This is the example of conceptual framework for SBM. Our input here are finance, physical facilities, student readiness, teacher ability, parental support. Our process for SBM are school culture, motivation level, instruction, learning time, leadership, and the output is student achievement. The advantages of SBM: allow competent individuals in the schools to make decisions that will improve learning. Give the entire school community a voice in key decisions. Focus accountability for decisions. Lead to greater creativity in the design of programs. Redirect resources to support the goals developed in each school. Lead to realistic budgeting as parents and teachers become more aware of the school's financial status, spending limitations, and the cost of its programs. And improve morale of teachers and nurture new leadership at all levels. The 4 principles of school-based management. These principles were assigned percentage weights on the basis of their relative importance to the aim of school improvement, learning outcomes, and school operations. The first principle is leadership and governance, which is 30%. The second one is curriculum and learning, 30%. Accountability and continuous improvement, 25%. And the last one is management of resources, 15%. Overall, we have 100%. Leadership and governance includes roles and responsibilities of stakeholders. Ang halimbawa po dito ay ang mga Certificate of Acceptance of the School Improvement Plan or SIP, Project Team Profile, Priority Improvement Areas, Programs and Projects, Community-Based Child Mapping, Documentations, Organizational Structures tulad ng faculty and staff, GPTA, Brigada Eskwela, Personal Handbook or School Manual of Operation, Calendar of Activities, Minutes of Meetings, INSET, Teacher Induction Program or TIP, Mentoring and Coaching Activities, Teacher Seminars and Academic Directory Listings, School Report Cards, at marami pang iba. Curriculum and Learning includes the development needs of the learners. Ang halimbawa po para dito ay ang mga classroom observation reports, action researches on learning and instruction, students' portfolio for benchmarking visits, image gallery, activities, exhibits, visits, community involvement, proposals from stakeholders and school partners like PTA, outreach program, list of instructional materials and equipment and service centers, best practices like Project Smile, anti-bullying, inclusive education, advocacy campaigns on rights of learners, SPED, follow-up system, and SBFP, at iba't iba pa po. Accountability and continuous improvement includes classification of the roles and responsibilities in education delivery. Under naman po nito ay ang mga halimbawa tulad ng minutes of meetings, accomplishment reports, recognition programs and rewards, incentive system with guidelines, school rules and regulations, formulated plans based on the result of assessment, assessment tool, continuous improvement or LAC session, at iba pa. Management of resources. It is about utilization of school funds. What are the scope of management resources? Functional Resource Management Committee, System Flowchart, Guidelines and Directory. Next is Inventory Reports, Financial Plan, Budget, SIP. Next is Access to Learning Resource Portal like Internet, Portal, Equipment, School Website and Learning Resources. Next is Resource Management Plan included in every action plans and work plans of different financial statement or MOOE, canteen, GPTA, and all other resources. Review of SBM 6 dimensions. Dimensions of School-Based Management or BESRA. So we have 6 dimensions. The first one is school leadership. The next is internal stakeholders. The third is external stakeholders. The fourth one is school improvement process. The fifth one is school-based resources. And the last one is school performance accountability. School leadership. The school head has an appointment. He or she aware for their basic roles and responsibilities in school improvement, has attended SBM-related trainings. Internal stakeholders, pupils, students, and teachers. Parents are aware of their rights and responsibilities as primary stakeholders. Teachers are trained on curriculum content and pedagogy, are aware of their rights and responsibilities as a primary stakeholders. Teachers apply knowledge, process skills, and instructional innovation acquired from participation in trainings. External stakeholders have a clear and common understanding of their rights, responsibilities, and functions in school improvement. School community are organized to support or implement SBM, are mobilized to support SBM and the implementation of SIP. Local government stakeholders are fully aware of their roles and responsibilities. School improvement process. The school conducts assessment of SBM practices using assessment tool. Governing council is organized. Has knowledge-based and participatory SIP or AIP formulation. Stakeholders are informed and consulted and engaged in SIP and AIP formulation and implementation. Performance-based incentives and reward system for pupils, students, and teachers installed in school and supported by the SGC. The school emphasizes improvement of school. School-based resources. The school has an annual school budget or ASB aligned with the annual improvement plan or AIP. The annual school budget resulted in the attainment of school targets and desired learning outcomes. The school manages and controls funds with minimal fiscal authority or autonomy targets and desired learning outcomes. The allocation, optimally utilized and disturbance of funds is aligned to SIP, AIP, or ASB and recorded, reported, and accounted. The school performance accountability. The school has a mechanisms for transparency and accountability, has installed and operationalized monitoring and evaluation system. Informs and involves major stakeholder in the monitoring and evaluation. Monitors and evaluates improvements in student performance indicators per class, per student, and per subject. School-based management and their subcomponents. The subcomponents of school-based management. The first one is policy and planning system. The next one is participatory mechanisms in education governance. The third one is human resource development of education management. The fourth one is quality assurance and accountability system. The fifth one is programs to improve access. And the last one is unified information system. Policy and planning system. Under this subcomponent, STRIVE aims to enhance or develop structures, processes, and tools associated with policy, planning systems at the school, division, and regional levels. Participatory mechanisms in education governance. This subcomponent is dedicated to identifying existing participatory mechanisms in education governance at the school, division, and region. Human resource development of education management. These subcomponents focuses on developing and piloting the appropriate regional organizational structure to ensure that the divisions actually support the implementation of school-based management as mandated by the Education Act of 2001. In order to help the regions perform this function, the subcomponent has developed the technical assistance mechanisms that will systematize the provisions of professional help and guidance by the region to the divisions and by the divisions to the schools. Quality assurance and accountability system. This subcomponent offers a mechanism for ensuring quality in the critical system, processes, outputs, and outcomes of DepEd at various management levels to bring about improved learning outcomes, continuous school improvement, and better technical and management services. It is supported by the interlocking processes of monitoring and evaluation that systematically provide educators timely information useful for planning and for making decisions and adjustments. Programs to improve access. The focus of this subcomponent is to establish the appropriate mechanisms that will increase the number of effective initiatives undertaken by the region, division, schools to improve access. The approach is to determine the pilot and appropriate support options for basic education. Unified Information System. The regional UIS is the ICT-enabled support to the process and information requirements of SBM, TND, and LRDMS. It aims to strengthen information management at the target regions and divisions to enable data-driven decision-making and provide a venue for connecting people and people to knowledge. They need to effectively respond and create new and relevant information. Assessment of SBM practices. Schools initiated assessment for self-directed improvement. Why do we need to assess the school-based management practices? To determine the level of SBM practices in school, provide basis on which to establish its plan of action, improve the SBM support systems through interventions that the school and other admin levels of DepEd, determine effectiveness of SBM practices in the delivery of basic education services. Change at school includes continuous improvement. By implementing change, we can attempt to bridge the educational dichotomy and link the importance of structure with the need for creativity. Change needs to happen continually in small evolutionary steps. Surely too, there is need for in-it education. Why implement school-based management? With SBM, the government devolves more responsibilities to the schools and provide them with greater autonomy and flexibility in managing their operations and resources and planning for school development. As the quality of school education has a direct impact on students' learning outcomes, the quid pro quo to additional autonomy is that schools have to be more transparent in their operations and accountable to the community for their performance and proper use of funds. We need to implement school-based management because with school-based management, school will develop a management system to ensure the quality of teaching and learning. This framework of governance is school-based, student-centered, and quality-focused. Implementing school-based management, introducing a participatory governance framework involving school sponsoring bodies, the principal, teachers, parents, alumni, and independent community members is essential as direct participation in school decision-making and different input of these key stakeholders help enhance transparency and accountability of school governance and contribute to more effective school operation. To promote quality education, a school should adopt a model of teaching and learning and management framework that suit the needs of students and the community. Through school-based management, the school develops its own characteristics, establishes its culture and identity, seek self-improvement, and pursues excellence. To ensure stakeholders' direct participation in school management, the government has introduced legislation to lay down rules and regulations governing its implementation. So why implement school-based management? Because participation of stakeholders in school management and policy making is a worldwide trend. The implementation of SBM brings the education system into a new era to tie in with global developments. This will be the end of our report. Thank you, classmates and Ma'am Pichi, for listening. Have a good day, everyone!